Hey, everybody, it's Doug Green, and I'm the publisher of Technology Reseller News, and I want to welcome everyone back to part 4 of our ongoing Pots and Shots series with Jake Jacoby of TelCloud. Jake, thank you for joining me again.
Thanks, Doug. Nice to see you. Thanks for having me.
Well, we're making a remarkable tour through the whole issue of the end of the POTS era, what can be done about the fact that it is an amazing opportunity, incredible opportunity for the MSP and reseller community. We're also trying to help everyone find the words and the way to do that. And at the same time, we're having a little bit of fun. We're having a tour of the most excellent tequilas ever made. So we're going to dive all the way into that today. Today's topic, we're going to be talking about POTS compliance challenges, the compliance conundrum, why aging lines are a risk. So, Jake, let's dive right into that. What are some of the biggest compliance challenges the industry is facing with POTS line replacement?
Yeah, that's a good question. So when you think about a POTS line, there's a reason that POTS lines were used for these legacy equipment, right? And so what POTS lines provided was they provided dial tone, a phone number, and they provided power as well. So a lot of times legacy equipment needed that power to be delivered by that POTS line. And the interesting thing about a POTS line is even if the building that POTS line was in, the commercial building or wherever, even residential, even if the power went out in that building, the power was still delivered over that POTS line because it came from the central office of the telecommunication company. So with that said, when you go into the POTS line replacement space, you have to deliver the same functionality for these legacy equipment, right? So some of the challenges there are, how do you provide a phone line that has the same power, that has the same reliability, that transmits the phone call or the data or the modem tones in the same exact way? And so there's a lot of challenges around that, because what most POTS line replacement solutions out there, they rely on voice over IP, right? And so voice over IP is very good for voice, and like you and I are having conversation, and if there's a little hiccup here and there, we still understand each other. However, with voice over IP, there's issues in that if the power goes down, typically the internet connection goes down, which means your line goes down. So there can be challenges there. There's challenges in latency and jitter, right? So again, if a modem's talking to another modem, right, and there's little skips or bumps along the way, that communication doesn't always happen. So in the POTS line replacement space, you really have to deliver a solution that solves for those challenges, stays on when the power goes out, gets rid of latency and jitter, is reliable, right, and delivers the same kind of power to, these legacy equipment. Does that make sense?
It does, and it sounds like that compliance is tricky.
It is.
You may, especially with this buried infrastructure that's been in place so long, you may not be aware of it, how a change may put you actually out of compliance, or even with sticking with something, you might fall out of compliance.
That's right. Yeah. So that's a great point, right? So sticking with something, again, we talked in the last series, a line that maybe is not operational that you thought it was, but you have no monitoring on it, right? So just having a line that's monitored and keeps you, that that's being delivered. The second piece is that, the information across that line is being delivered reliably, right? So again, latency and jitter in the voice over IP world isn't a big deal. When it comes to like alarm signals, it absolutely is. So one of the things we find is that, a lot of the original POTS line replacement solutions were based on voice over IP. And these companies and these boxes that are out there have done a pretty good job of getting it pretty accurate, but still it's only about 90 to 95% accurate, right? Well, that's okay in a voice line, but when it comes to life safety or emergency lines, that 5 to 10% is absolutely not acceptable, right? It has to work every single time. You say you can't have an acceptable loss of 5 to 10%, right? So one of the things that we had to do when we started looking at this and looking at this problem, TelCloud engineered solutions that were 100% accurate, that always worked, that were code compliant, right? There's fire code, there's elevator code, there's, different codes in New York and California versus, other states. So these compliance issues are a big deal, and you have to be able to meet those standards and deliver not only technically what the legacy equipment needs, but also what the law requires, right? That has to stay up and running because, again, at the end of the day, a lot of these are life safety.
So it sounds like there's actually 2 or 3 things as we address these compliance issues that are in play. It's got to work. It's got to be compliant. And you're also saying, there's it's not just an arcane regulation we're talking about. There's safety and life and death and other things like that.
That's right. Right. So 100% reliability is absolutely necessary, right? Just like I said, 90, even 95% doesn't cut it, right? So you don't want to be in that 5%. So at TelCloud, we take different approaches, right? One, we make sure that we're compliant, make sure that we're licensed to do things, and then we engineer solutions that are future-proof. So here's a good example. A lot of our competitors have a box out there it works for POTS line replacement, but it uses back-end voice over IP technology, right? And that's honestly how TelCloud started. We started with voice over IP. We found that wasn't going to work in the future. So some of these things, when I'll give you an example. Fire alarm signals are transmitted to the central station and they make phone calls, right? Well, the POTS lines are going away, not only on the customer side, but also on the central station side, right? So when the signal is sent from the customer to the central station and it's making a phone call via voice over IP, and then eventually that POTS line goes away, that technology is no longer going to work. So some of our competitors out there that are using these boxes based on this, technology, in a few years, 3 to 5 years, when that goes, it's going to have to be replaced. So TelCloud took a different approach and re-engineered these things, code compliant, to be able to use IP technology that's going to work today and into the future for the next 15 to 20 years. So as a reseller, when you choose technology out there, you want to choose technology that is going to work for you, work long-term, and be 100% accurate and be licensed, right? So we have license to transmit those signals. So just nuance to this, but like you said, there's a lot to it. Here's the best part. You don't have to be the expert. As this sounds complicated, but as a reseller, you don't have to be that expert. That's what we're here for. You put your brand on it, use our guidance, let us back you up. Let us be those experts for you on your team, as your team, and go help your customers. Really, you have that relationship with the customer. That's what we want to do. We want to empower you to have that conversation, to help you, and to make sure that your customers are going to get the right solution at the right price. When that works, this ecosystem works. TelCloud makes its little bit of money. You make your margin. Customer gets a solution that's going to work long term. It's an ecosystem that really works, and we all win in this business.
So, I was going to ask, how do you even get started? What's your first step on this journey?
That's good. Honestly, it's just reaching out to us and letting us have a conversation with you so that we can understand your business. Who are you talking today? How do you sell? Do you want to do all the work? Do you want to just sell it? We have all of those options. So TelCloud is a complete holistic approach to this business. Everything that you need to be successful in the business. If you have certain things that you bring to the table, like connectivity, like routers, things like that, we can integrate with that and we can help you. So reach out to us, telcloud.com. We'd love to have a conversation. It's very easy to get onboarded with us, and it's very easy to kind of approach your customers. We've got collateral for you. We've got the questions to ask so that you can go out and talk to your customers, have intelligent conversations, let us back you up on the hard stuff, and win in this industry together.
And now we get to the tour of the worldwide tour of the best tequilas ever made. What do you have for us this week?
All right. So this tequila is extra añejo. It is, which means it's been aged. This one has actually been aged 40 months. And on the theme of painting as well as tequila this is a tequila called Atelier del Maestro. And so each bottle, I don't know if you can see this, it is hand painted. So it's a one of a kind bottle. So not the cheapest, tequila, but very, very good. Aged, like I said, 40 months. Every single bottle is hand painted and different. So if you ever see this out there, definitely try it. It's one of my favorite tequilas. Very smooth, easy to drink. Again, always drink it neat.
So these tequilas you've been showing us are like all works of art. You'd be proud to have it on your shelf. People, it's like something to see.
That's absolutely right. They're great to drink, share with friends, but it's a conversation piece too, just like a piece of art, or just have a special moment with somebody, share it with friends. I love tequila, so yeah.
Well, Jake, I really want to thank you again for joining me today. This has been a very interesting podcast series. We're going to be continuing this next week. Part 5 is going to be opportunities for innovation, the bright side of POTS replacement. That's going to be really interesting. I'm going to be looking forward to that. Again, it's Pots and Shots, so we'll also be hearing from yet another great tequila as well, so stay tuned. For now, where can we learn more about TelCloud?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Doug. Telcloud.com. Definitely look us up online. We're happy to, fill out your information there. We'd love to talk to you, see if it's a good fit for you and your customers. And then you can always give us a call, 844-900-2270. Please give us a call. Look forward to talking to you.
Well, Jake, again, I'm looking forward to our next podcast in this podcast series. But for now, thanks very much indeed.
Thanks, Doug.